When the grid goes down, when the lights flicker off and never come back on, when the silence of a blackout stretches into hours, then days, then weeks, you will suddenly realize just how fragile the system really is. Most people will panic, run to the stores, fight for scraps, and within days the shelves will be stripped bare. But not you. Not if you're paying attention right now. Because today, we're diving into the only survival superfoods you'll ever need. The foods that don't just keep you alive, but give you the edge when everything else collapses into chaos. Now, I'm not talking about trendy diets or overpriced powders. I'm talking about foods that have saved lives in war zones, in famines, in the middle of natural disasters, and foods that will still be good when the so-called modern world has crumbled. Imagine this. You're sitting in total darkness, the city around you silent except for the distant sound of shouting, maybe gunfire, maybe just the chaos of desperate people. Your fridge is dead. Your freezer is a coffin for rotting meat. Your neighbors are burning through their last bags of chips and cereal boxes. But you've got superfoods that last. You've got calories, protein, fats, and nutrients that will not only keep you alive, but strong enough to fight another day. I want you to think about that right now, because this isn't theory. This isn't just entertainment. Every year we see disasters tearing through so-called stable countries. Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires, floods, even cyber attacks that knock out entire grids. And when it happens, there's no warning sign on your phone that says, "Don't worry, the grocery stores will be open tomorrow." No. When collapse hits, it hits fast, and if you aren't already prepared, you're too late. So let me ask you, are you really ready if disaster strikes tomorrow? Do you have the foods that can carry you through when the system collapses? Or are you gambling with your life, hoping someone else will save you? Stay with me, because in this video I'm not just going to name a few foods. I'm going to walk you through exactly why these survival superfoods matter, how they've kept civilizations alive for centuries, and how you can stockpile them without wasting money or space. And I'll warn you now, some of what I'm about to reveal will challenge what you think you know about survival. Forget the nonsense, the myths, the flashy packaging. This is about real survival, and I promise, by the time we're done, you'll either take action or you'll regret it the moment disaster strikes. Before we go deeper, hit that subscribe button right now. Because if you really want to survive, if you want the knowledge that most people will never learn until it's too late, this is where you'll get it. Don't just watch, commit. This is your survival and your family's survival. So subscribe, like this video to spread the message, and comment below. What's the first food you would grab if the shelves were empty tomorrow? Think about it, write it down, and let's see who's really serious. Now let's start with a hard truth. Most people will die not because there wasn't food around, but because they didn't know which foods mattered most. They'll waste time, energy, and precious resources trying to live off junk that won't last. That won't sustain them, and when their bodies start to weaken, when their immune systems crash, they'll be easy prey for disease, exhaustion, or worse, the desperate, violent actions of other hungry people. You will not be one of them, not if you understand the power of survival superfoods. And here's the hook. Some of the most powerful survival foods aren't glamorous. They're not flashy. They're not sitting on the front page of some health magazine. They're ancient. They're simple. They're tested by generations of hardship, and they can be stored for years. That's why in the next part of this video, we'll start uncovering these foods one by one. And when you hear the first one, you might be shocked at how overlooked it really is. Picture this. It's day 5 of a total blackout. The stores are empty. The gas stations are dry. The water treatment plant shut down 3 days ago, and most people are already desperate. They're boiling dirty water, tearing through the last scraps of whatever they can find. But you're calm. You've prepared. And the reason you're calm is because you know about one of the most powerful, reliable survival superfoods on Earth, beans. Yes, beans. Doesn't sound glamorous, does it? But let me explain why they might be the single most underrated survival powerhouse. Dried beans can last for years if stored correctly. They're packed with protein, fiber, and critical nutrients, and they fill you up when calories matter most. In an urban collapse, when you need strength to defend your home or carry supplies, beans give you slow-burning energy and muscle-building power. Ancient armies marched on beans. Entire populations survived famine with beans as their main fuel. Imagine this. You're in a freezing house, no heat, no electricity, and your neighbor's kids are crying from hunger while their parents argue about what to do. You've got a pot of beans simmering rich, hot, and nourishing, That's the difference between prepared and unprepared. But beans are just the beginning. Another survival superfood that saved more lives than almost anything else? Rice. White rice, not brown. Why? Because white rice, if stored properly, can last up to 30 years. That's 3 decades of guaranteed calories in a bucket or sealed bag. And while brown rice has more nutrients, it spoils quickly, making it useless in a true collapse scenario. Pair rice and beans together, and you've got a complete protein source. A balance of amino acids that can sustain you almost indefinitely. Whole nations have survived on this combination. Will you? Or will you be the person who mocked boring food storage and now has nothing left when the shelves are stripped? Now let's raise the stakes. Imagine an earthquake has shattered your city. Roads are gone, supplies cut off, chaos everywhere. You're carrying your bug-out bag and every ounce matters. What do you pack? Honey. Pure, raw honey never spoils. Archaeologists have found jars of honey in Egyptian tombs, still edible after thousands of years. Honey gives quick energy, heals wounds, boosts immunity, and can even be used as a barter item when money becomes worthless. Picture that for a second. Your neighbor has medicine but no food, and you have honey. That's real power in a collapsed world. Let's push further. Survival superfoods aren't just about calories. They're about resilience. Salt, for example, might not sound like food, but it's critical. Without salt, your body shuts down. Salt preserves meat, flavors food, and keeps your electrolytes balanced when water is scarce or contaminated. In ancient times, salt was more valuable than gold. In a collapse, when people are fighting over bottled water and snack foods, you'll be the one with salt. A survival essential that could mean life or death. But here's the danger. Stocking these foods isn't enough. You need to know how to store them properly. Moisture, pests, oxygen, these are your real enemies. How many so-called preppers have lost their food stash because they just tossed bags in a basement and hoped for the best? Don't be that person. If you're serious, you use Mylar bags, oxygen absorbers, and buckets. You think long-term, because survival isn't about hoping, it's about knowing. The next survival foods I'm about to share are the ones that most people overlook. The ones that could carry you through years of collapse when everyone else is dropping like flies. But before, comment below. What's in your pantry right now that would actually keep you alive for months? Be honest. If your answer is chips and frozen pizza, you already know you wouldn't make it. Change that today. Now take a breath, because the next superfood on this list isn't just about survival. It's about thriving. It's about maintaining strength, stamina, and clarity of mind when everyone else is weak, sick, and panicking. And if you've never thought about it before, you're about to see why ancient warriors and explorers carried it as their secret weapon. Now imagine the world has been thrown into absolute chaos. You've survived the first week, but the real test begins now. The weak are breaking down, the unprepared are falling apart, and diseases are spreading fast. What you eat now isn't just about filling your stomach. It's about fueling your survival, your mind, and your ability to outlast the storm. And that's where one of the most critical survival superfoods comes into play. Oats. Oats are cheap, lightweight, and insanely versatile. With just a bit of water, you've got a filling meal that can power you through a long day of gathering wood, defending your shelter, or scouting for supplies. They stabilize blood sugar, keep your energy steady, and store for years when sealed properly. Think about this. While others are wasting precious energy scavenging for whatever crumbs they can find, you're eating a steady, reliable food that keeps your strength up. Oats aren't just breakfast. They're survival fuel. But here's where the edge sharpens. Peanut butter. Don't laugh. It might sound simple, but peanut butter is one of the highest calorie, longest lasting, most efficient survival superfoods you can pack. A single spoonful delivers fat, protein, and energy dense enough to keep you going when everything else has run out. Soldiers carried it. Explorers carried it. And in your bug-out bag, that jar of peanut butter could be the difference between pressing on or collapsing in exhaustion. And don't forget, it's comfort food too. In the middle of collapse, morale matters. Something familiar, something rich, something that tastes like normal life can keep your spirit alive. Now let's talk about one of the most overlooked but absolutely vital survival superfoods, powdered milk. Sounds boring? Maybe. But when there's no refrigeration, no dairy trucks, no grocery store, this is the difference between brittle bones and strong ones, between malnourished kids and healthy ones. Powdered milk provides calcium, protein, and fat, and when mixed into oats or rice, it creates meals that feel complete. Parents, listen carefully. In a collapse scenario, children are the first to suffer malnutrition. Powdered milk could literally save your child's life when nothing else is available. And here's where the survival game turns brutal. Most people will ignore seeds. Yes, seeds. Not just for eating, but for planting. Survival isn't only about the stash you have. It's about creating more when the stash runs low. Packets of heirloom seeds, corn, beans, squash, greens, aren't just food. They're life insurance. In a long-term collapse, while your neighbors starve, you'll be pulling fresh vegetables from the soil. And when society rebuilds, guess who has the power? The one who can grow food. Seeds are survival currency. Don't underestimate them. Let me hit you with a scenario. Imagine 3 months into collapse. Your rice is running low, your beans are halfway gone, and the stress is crushing. The desperate are breaking into homes. Violence is everywhere. What do? If you've stocked seeds you've already planted, you've created sustainability in the middle of collapse. You're not just surviving day to day. You're building a fortress of food that multiplies. That's real preparedness. That's next level survival. But listen closely. The greatest mistake people make is thinking they have more time. You don't. Collapse doesn't send you a warning. It hits like a thief in the night. The blackout begins, the internet goes dark, the banks freeze, and suddenly you're standing in line at an empty store with nothing but panic in the air. Do you really want to wait until then to realize you should have stocked up? Or do you want to be the one with oats, peanut butter, powdered milk, and seeds when everyone else is clawing for crumbs? And in the next part, I'm going to reveal the survival superfoods that are compact, almost weightless, yet packed with the kind of nutrients and energy that can keep you alive even when you're on the move, running from danger, hiding in the wilderness, or escaping the urban collapse zone. These are the foods that could literally keep you alive when carrying even 1 pound too much could cost you your life. Don't miss it. Now let's step into the harshest scenario you can imagine. The city is burning, the grid is dead, and the chaos has reached a fever pitch. You're on the move, carrying only what's on your back. Every ounce matters. You can't haul buckets of rice or bags of beans. You need survival superfoods that are lightweight, compact, and explosively powerful in nutrition. This is where your preparation separates you from the victims. The first weapon in your arsenal, dehydrated fruits and vegetables. Don't underestimate them. A handful of dried fruit can keep your blood sugar stable, your energy sharp, and your mind clear when fatigue and stress threaten to drag you down. Dried vegetables, carrots, peas, spinach, can be rehydrated into soups or eaten dry, delivering critical vitamins when fresh food is impossible. Think about this: scurvy, malnutrition, weakness. These killed sailors, soldiers, and survivors throughout history. With dried produce in your pack, you eliminate that threat. You're not just alive, you're functioning at a level above the desperate masses. But let's sharpen the blade further. Nuts. Almonds, walnuts, cashews, pistachios. These are calorie-dense, protein-packed, fat-rich, and require zero preparation. In survival, fats are critical. They fuel your brain, regulate hormones, and give long-lasting energy. Picture this. You're trekking through a ruined city, moving fast to avoid gangs and looters. You can't stop for a fire. You can't cook. You reach into your bag, grab a fistful of nuts, and keep moving. That's survival in motion. And here's where it gets serious. Jerky. Meat that's been dried, salted, and cured into one of the longest-lasting, most protein-heavy superfoods you can carry. Jerky is compact, durable, and stores for months, even years when sealed properly. In a world where fresh meat is a fantasy, jerky becomes your lifeline. Soldiers, hunters, explorers, they all carried it because it works. Imagine needing to stay silent in the dark, hiding from desperate scavengers. No fire, no cooking smells. Just jerky in your pocket, silent and sustaining. That's survival intelligence. Now let's go extreme survival bars. Not the sugary junk you find at convenience stores, but high-calorie, dense survival rations like those designed for militaries and lifeboats. One small bar can deliver thousands of calories. They're built to last 5 years or more, withstand heat and cold, and keep you alive when nothing else is available. Imagine evacuating during a wildfire or fleeing a hurricane zone with nothing but what you can carry. Those survival bars in your pack could keep you alive long enough to make it to safety. Do you have them? Or are you betting your life that a convenience store will still be open in an apocalypse? Now let me pull you into a scenario. You're 3 days on the move, your legs ache, your body is screaming for fuel. You find a collapsed bridge, a burning skyline behind you, and you know you can't stop here. You need to keep going. You reach into your bag and find exactly what you need: nuts, jerky, and survival bars. You chew, you swallow, and strength surges back. That's the power of being prepared. While others collapse, you move forward. But let's not forget the dark truth. Weight kills. Pack too much and you'll slow down, leaving yourself vulnerable. Pack too little and you'll starve. This is why knowing the right survival superfoods isn't optional. It's life or death. Every ounce counts. Every choice matters. The right foods could carry you through the firestorm. The wrong foods could bury you in it. And here's my challenge to you. Are you really prepared to move if disaster forces you out of your home? Or are you pretending that you'll just hunker down forever? Collapse doesn't play by your rules. Sometimes survival means running. And when it does, your life depends on what you've chosen to carry. Next, I'm revealing survival superfoods that go beyond calories. Foods that heal, that protect your body from infection, that turn your stash into a survival pharmacy. And if you don't know them, you're leaving yourself wide open to one of the deadliest killers in collapse. Not hunger, but disease. Now here's the brutal truth that most people refuse to face. In a real collapse, hunger won't be your only enemy. Disease, infection, and weakness will kill faster than an empty stomach. History proves it. Soldiers in the trenches, survivors of famines, even disaster refugees, most didn't die from starvation alone. They died from sickness, which means your survival superfoods can't just feed you. They have to protect you. This is where garlic comes in. Garlic isn't just a seasoning, it's a weapon. Antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral. When hospitals are shut down, when antibiotics are gone, garlic becomes your survival medicine. It strengthens your immune system, keeps infections at bay, and can even be applied to wounds in desperate situations. Think about it. When cuts, bites, and contaminated water are everywhere, garlic is the difference between life and septic death. It's not hype, it's history. Next, honey. Yes, we already mentioned it for energy, but let's take it deeper. Honey is a natural antibiotic. It heals wounds, prevents infection, and soothes sore throats when disease is spreading like wildfire. Imagine the collapse dragging on, and you or your child develops a deep cut. No ER, no urgent care, no pharmacy. What do you have? Honey. And that sticky golden liquid may be the reason you live to see another sunrise. Now let's add another overlooked but critical survival food, apple cider vinegar. Most people ignore it, but vinegar has powerful antibacterial properties. It aids digestion when stress wrecks your gut, and it can even be used for cleaning wounds and sanitizing gear. In survival, nothing goes to waste, and vinegar is one of those multi-purpose lifesavers that stretches your options when everything else has failed. And don't underestimate herbs and spices. Cinnamon fights bacteria, turmeric reduces inflammation, cayenne pepper can boost circulation and even stop bleeding when applied to wounds. These aren't luxuries in collapse, they're survival tools. Imagine a world without pharmacies, without antibiotics, without painkillers. Your spice stash suddenly becomes your survival pharmacy. The question is, do you have one? Let's step into a grim but very real scenario. It's been 6 weeks since the collapse began. The power grid is still dead. Trash is piling up in the streets. Water is contaminated. Your neighbor's kids are sick with fever, diarrhea, and weakness. They didn't prepare. You did. You've got garlic, honey, vinegar, herbs, superfoods that don't just feed your body, but fight the silent killers of collapse. Your family stays strong, your energy stays high, and while others crumble, you endure. And here's the truth. When society collapses, the strong don't just survive because they're tough. They survive because they're smart. They knew what to stock, how to use it, and how to turn basic foods into powerful survival weapons. That's what separates the living from the dead. But let me ask you, are you truly preparing your survival pantry as if your life depends on it? Or are you just daydreaming about it while the clock ticks down? Because collapse doesn't wait for you to be ready. It strikes and only the prepared walk away. And now we come to the final survival superfoods, the ones most people ignore, mock, or underestimate, but that could carry you further than anything else when the world collapses. These aren't flashy. They don't sit in shiny packaging in a health food store. But they're ancient, proven, and almost impossible to beat when it comes to true long-term survival. First, whole grains like wheat berries. Forget bread. Forget fancy flour. Wheat berries, stored in sealed buckets, can last for decades. With a grinder, you can make flour. With water and heat, you can make porridge. And in survival, that kind of versatility is pure gold. When others are scrounging for crackers and stale cereal, you'll have the foundation of civilization itself sitting in your pantry. Second, lentils. Faster to cook than beans, packed with protein and loaded with nutrients. They require less fuel to prepare, which is critical when wood, propane, or electricity is gone. And in survival, every ounce of energy saved is energy you can use to fight, move, or rebuild. Third, powdered greens. It might sound like a gimmick, but imagine this. Months into collapse, you're eating rice, beans, grains, jerky. Your body is begging for vitamins and minerals. Powdered greens, spirulina, chlorella, or even dehydrated kale, are nutrient bombs that keep your immune system strong and your body functional. They weigh almost nothing and could be the reason you don't collapse from malnutrition in month 6 of survival. And finally, water storage enhancers, electrolyte powders. Again, not glamorous. But dehydration is one of the fastest killers in collapse. Water alone won't cut it when you're sweating, stressed, and constantly on the move. Electrolytes keep your body running, your muscles firing, your brain clear. Without them, even with food, you'll crash. With them, you stay in the fight. Now let's lock this in with a brutal scenario. It's been 6 months since the grid collapsed. The weak are gone. Violence is common. The desperate are dangerous. You're tired, but you're alive. And the reason is simple. You prepared. While others laughed, you stocked wheat berries, lentils, powdered greens, electrolytes. You didn't just survive. You endured, you adapted, and now you're strong enough to rebuild. That's the power of survival superfoods. So I'll ask you one last time. Are you really ready if disaster strikes tomorrow? Do you have the beans, rice, honey, salt, oats, peanut butter, powdered milk, seeds, jerky, nuts, herbs, grains, greens, electrolytes? Or are you waiting, gambling that the shelves will still be full when the lights go out? Don't wait. Don't gamble. Survival isn't about luck. It's about preparation. It's about taking action today while you still can. If you've stayed with me until now, you're not just curious. You're serious. So commit. Smash that subscribe button right now if you want the knowledge that could save your life when the world collapses. Like this video to spread the word, and comment below. Which survival superfood will you start stockpiling today? Don't just think it, say it, write it, and make it real. Because here's the truth. The apocalypse doesn't care about excuses. It doesn't care that you meant to prepare or that you were too busy. It doesn't care about your plans, your comfort, or your confidence. When collapse comes, it comes fast, and only those who took action beforehand will still be standing when the dust clears. Be that person. Be the one who prepares. Be the one who survives. And remember, this was only the beginning. The next video will show you exactly how to store these foods for decades, protect them from pests, and make sure your survival pantry never fails when you need it most. If you thought this was intense, you haven't seen anything yet. Subscribe, prepare, survive. The clock is ticking.